Alright, welcome back to episode 8 of the Duck of Doom. So where we left off last time was we had just completed the shotgun, put that in the game, and as you see we now have a normal duck, the Duck of Doom, and a shotgun available. So next thing up was some animation in Blender. Just kind of scoping out these guys in the scene editor here. In case you have not seen these, this is the normal duck. And this is the Duck of Doom. It's kind of a skeletal necrotic duck. So we're just making a quick basic kind of game here. Blender 3D is my preferred animation tool, largely because it's free. And it does what I think is a pretty darn good job. And so when I save my models out, I save them as OBJs, wavefront OBJs. So I'm going to import that. And I save all my stuff out in my Unity projects folder. Duck of Doom should be in here. So we've got, I want to do the regular duck first. So this is not the Duck of Doom, it's just standard duck here. Alright, been a little while since I did one of these, so bear with me, hopefully I won't struggle too much. So first thing we want to do is set up the material on this guy to be kind of a translucent, so that or what they call X-ray. So when we make the bones on him, that they will be visible. And I'm trying to find where that was. You know, it's funny when you're just doing this and you're not streaming, it doesn't feel like there's pressure to find it real fast, and poking around's not a big deal. But when hypothetically people are watching, all of a sudden you can't find anything and it takes forever. Blah 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 blah. All right, maybe it doesn't show up till I have a bone, so let's try that out. So the thing to know about Blender is, it's a little hard to see. There's this dotted little circle here. That is where the current focus is, unless that's the one up there, but I think that's it down there. Pretty sure that's it. So the first bone I create is going to be centered there, and that, for me, that's perfectly fine. So let's go add armature single bone. And then we should be able to, yeah, there it is. Okay, good. Gonna put it back where it was. All right, let's see if we can get that X-ray thing going on now. There's X-ray right there. Okay, so now you see, if I toggle this X-ray off, you can't see the bone. Toggle on, now you can't see it. So what we want to be able to do is see it, of course. And I'm going to go to edit mode for this. Then I'm going to scale it. Come on now, it's your birthday. There we go. I need to select the actual item. Alright, so what I often like to do is make some kind of root bone that is not say like the pelvis or what have you of the item, that's kind of a controller root. Often it would be the thing that's going to be kind of like where the ground is. In this case, since the bird's flying, it's not really applicable. So then from this point, when we extrude, it's going to add an extra bone. Obviously that's way too big. But what you notice here is that this bone is at a wacky angle, right? So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to go grip this green one and extrude. No. Right click and extrude. Oh, that's it. All right. Sorry, I forgot. What I'm doing is tapping the Z key, constrains it to the Z axis. The X constrains it to the X axis, and Y constrains it to the Y axis. Imagine that. Oops. Put my finger back on Y. There we go. And so the importance of that obviously is we want it to be pretty well aligned, and if it was subtly off to the left and right and zigzagging all around, that would make for a little bit of difficulty in animation, and it may deform oddly. As far as the keystrokes that I'm using for the most part, I thought I had a script. Let's see if it works. Control Shift S, is it? No, that's not it. Yeah, there's a screencast script for that's supposed to show all the keys I'm pressing, but this is like a pre-release version of Blender, and I was having problems getting that. I apologize. In the future, I will do my best to try to get something like that working. So the bones here, a lot of times it's really a matter of how detailed you want to be. And by that I mean, you know, generally you want to follow the anatomy of something as true as you can, right? But in some cases, when it comes to like spinal segments or tail segments, you know, he may have, if I go look up online, you know, 12, 13, you know, tail segments, but I just don't need that much deformation. But when it comes to like shoulders and hip joints and things, like following the deformation is important. So like here when we go to the wing, I went ahead and Googled an image to try to understand kind of what shoulders are like. So here's the shoulder, and it joins to a humerus, and then a radius and ulna structure, and then a metacarpus, which is kind of like a finger, believe it or not. And then this last bit out here is really mainly feathers. So extrude both of those at the same time, and then I don't know, what I really want is to make these uniform and the exact same size and direction and whatnot, right? So again, coming from the shoulder. So if you imagine this coracoid, can I get this image in a new tab? Here we go. This coracoid, to me, I'm not going to put in the blade of the scapula here, but this coracoid is this bone. And then I don't have his wing bent right now, so this humerus is going to be the next thing. And then the radius is the next one. So I guess let's do E for extrude and the x-axis. All right, E for extrude and X for the x-axis. All right, so that is the humerus. Now I need the, so the radius and the ulna, that's for what's like what they call supination and pronation of your arm, which is like basically kind of flipping it over. Like if you flip it so the palm is up and you flip your hand so the palm is down, what you notice is your forearm is actually turning to do that, and that is the radius and ulna in your arm rotating, pronation and supination. I don't even know how I know that. But in our case, because of these bones can just be rotated in the modeling program, we don't need two bones to do that. So I'm only going to model like both of these bones kind of as one. So again, extrude, x-axis I think it was on, extrude, x-axis. And so then hypothetically there's just one more bone left here. This little finger bone, I guess it does have a few things left. But I'm just going to do one more. Again, certain details are not needed per se. All right. Show enough. Extrude to the y-axis. Again. Okay, I think that's pretty reasonable there. So I'm going to go ahead and save as, and then yeah, that is a different project. Duck of Doom. So previously, this had been a OBJ file, now it's a Blender file. And so this is actually the final file that's going to go in there. So this is duck.blend. It's just a regular duck. See the Blender file. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is get the bones. There's different terminology that's used. Rigging is the one that I'm most comfortable with. But some people will call it skinning the mesh. I don't even know where that term came from, but it is used for the same thing. Rigging means to attach the bones to the 3D model. That's what skinning the mesh also means. Although if you started game development back when I did, like in 95, 97, skinning was back in the Quake community and stuff. You would do skins for models, and we still use that terminology like in Counter-Strike, gun skins, right? So again, I don't know who coined that term for rigging, but you will hear that. All right, Blender, I always forget. So I'm right-clicking to select either the mesh or the bones, and one or the other. I think you do the mesh first, and then shift right-click, and the bones, and then probably Alt-P to parent it. No, let's try Control-P. Here you go. Here you go. So set parent to, it was Control-P with automatic weights. Okay. So now we can go to pose mode, and if I rotate this, look at that. Look at that. See? It's animating. Same thing here. Same thing here. I'm just testing what you want to look for, and you know, I mean, if we see it, then I will obviously point it out. I'm going to look for deformation that creates a really weird, jagged, spiky thing streaking across. That's a sign that something is not attached properly. So you exercise each one in both directions if you can. Alright. It's a little bit of an example there, but not too bad. Yeah, I'd say this is pretty darn good. This is pretty darn good. So back to object mode. We'll save that again. My son's playing a game in the background. You might hear him talking a little bit. Pardon me. So then here's the next fun part. So in Blender, it has these modes up here. We want to do the animation mode. And then nextly, this is the dope sheet. Funny name, but that's what they call it. Oh gosh. I always screw this up. Yeah, I'm making it worse. I'm making it worse. Yeah, thank you, Blender. This is fabulous. I'm supposed to be able to drag one of these into the next thing down, and then it merges and disappears, but I am goofing that up hard right now. Oh no, it's even worse. Please. Oh no, 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 no. It's fun. They must have changed it because I'm used to being able to do this and this is not working. Oh my god, that is so horrible. Can I reset this? Please stop doing that.
Sorry, Dad. I wish you could save you.
There it is. I guess it has to be upwards. Alright, dope sheet. Is that going to go away? I hope it doesn't leave me with...
So?
Oh no.
I don't want it.
I was undoing it. I think that was just from the animation. So is this the regular? Is this the view I wanted or the dope sheet? It looks a little weird. All right. Let's go here. Select object mode, pose mode. Yep, I think I'm in the wrong mode. Wow. You're killing me, Blender. Revert. Okay. Animation. Let's try this again. Dope sheet. Can we go away? Maybe what I need to do. Ooh, did it do it? Dope sheet summary. No. File. Oh, God. So sorry. I don't use Blender that darn much. So this is my objection to Blender. Ha! Example and point. So Blender's interface is confusing and they changed it a lot. And every single screen is freaking different. And so you have a devil of a time trying to figure out what you're doing. And then you have to go watch tutorial videos, which I'm going to recommend you go and do if you want to use Blender. It's a fine program. I really do indeed like animating in it, but it is difficult to use sometimes. So what I'm hoping to do here, I'm going to select all the bones, and then I'm going to insert a keyframe with the rot scale. What this means is the location of it, the rotation of it, and the scale of it, because those are all the things that you can normally animate. Alright, so let me save as is. So I do believe this lower one is what I want to get rid of. Can I get rid of it like this? Okay, yay, I did it. Wow, that was painful. So sorry. Okay. So down here we can name what the animation is. Right here, so I'm going to call this the base pose. And then Blender has this interesting concept of a data block, and if you don't save the data block, then it won't make it over to Unity. So you have to press this F to force it to save it. And now I'm going to press plus for my next thing, and I'm going to call this flying, because in the duck, many animations have a idle animation, right? And this duck, idle, he's never going to be sitting there on the ground or what have you in this game. He's going to be flying. So we need to determine how many frames we want this to be. I'm kind of zooming in here. the number of frames is up to you, but the more they are, the more difficult it is in a fashion. That means you have to do a lot more frames of animation. So there is a control here I'm not seeing that I'm looking for. Again, I think they've changed this since I was used to using it. I would hate to fail at this tonight, but that is life in the city. You're going to fail sometimes. And if you want to be a game dev, you need to constantly be learning. I assume that's why you would be watching this video here, but sorry, let's see if we go out. I'm going to zoom in further. I only want to do about 24 frames of animation. So I'm going to insert keyframe of the location, rotation, and scale. We'll assume that this is kind of the neutral pose is going to be in the middle and the end. So I'm going to go over here, and here's where we flap their wings, somewhat like this should be, right? So let's keep it simple for now. Insert locate scale, and then okay. 24 frames and play. Okay, there you go. It ain't fabulous, but it's working. Okay. Man, I apologize. I must just be tired after a long day of work. That happens too.
What car is it?
Now, what I would really probably be best suited to doing is go and see animation bird flapping wings, because maybe you know exactly what it should be, but I sure don't. So this should be more up and down. This is what it's looking like here. Yeah, this is blurry, but I kind of like this. Alright, so let's get over here, and so this is going to be right in the middle, and then so there's an up and a down, so we need that up and down both can't be right here in the middle, right? So this might be up and this might be down, or up and down. We need to sequence it, so let's go here and take her up. And then I can tell from this angle that it's roughly the same. Insert location, rotation, scale. And down here, let's take them on down. Insert location, rotation, scale. Let's preview. Most of the time I think that this is going to be seen from an angle like this, so let's see what it looks like. There you go. Pretty good. So let's spice it up a little bit. So again, using reference. See, I don't know if this person fully did this according to the bone structure of the bird or not. See, like here in the up position is a bit flapped down, so we're going to assume this one.
50 down people, and we're the only people left alive on our team.
There we go. Location, rotation, scale. And then I guess on these, just for a bit of variety, I don't know what would be more likely. A little forward movement. Yeah, I'm making that up. Okay. Preview again.
I already have the
Right, the lower range needs some work, obviously. So let's see, reference-wise. So this curvature in this opposite way here, hypothetically.
Actually, there's one person. Oh, there's a guy.
Let's take a look from the side. Yeah, some of those angles, that's not bad. Other ones, like right here, straight from the side, I don't feel like that's going as high as I'd like, and it's probably because I have these bent. So let me copy this and put that 2 frames before a paste, insert low growth scale, and move it back to those two, and then pull this guy back up like I had it. Alright, let's look at that now. I think that'll be better. Yeah, I like that. Okay, pretty nice. So now the next thing we want to do is make some other movement around their tail and their neck, because obviously it's not going to be just sticking out straight like that. Excuse me. Okay, zoom in a tiny bit. So I guess the question here, does this show us the movement of the neck? Nope. But we could do, okay, duck flying animation. Alright, we can go to YouTube. Pause that. Or, I'm sorry, muted. I don't need the sound. Alright, great. He ain't flying there. It's a little bit of a... Wow. That is not fabulous. I guess, alright, I saw a little bit of it. Looked like to me that this lift it up a little bit, kind of like that. Alright, and let's take a look here. Yeah, that's a little bit too much. That's a thing I notice sometimes is it's very easy to overdo certain things. These 2 keyframes on the neck. Let's try this.
I have never said that.
Alright. Probably still too much.
I wish I could go camping, but you know the problem with me going camping? My head feels like it's on a bag of rocks if I go camping.
Okay, what do we got? Oh, I goofed up. I put. Fix that. Go
I
here.
think
Paste. Right. I guess that's all right. It's not fabulous, but
help. The trap loaded the second time and I died. Don't go over there. There's a trap.
the tail a lot of times looked like it was kind of down.
Yeah. Yeah. Tilt it again.
Just gonna make it move a little bit. So a lot of times in animation, there's a lot of subtle movement, little things. You don't have to overdo it if it's not going to be seen by the player.
This game on, I think he's gonna leave after this game, but I'm
Alright, it's not going to win a Disney award, but it's a very reasonable animation, so let's save it out, make sure it's working in Unity. So this duck prefab now, we're going to get rid of that, and now it needs the let's see. Yep, this is it.
yeah, alright. We were just waiting for Ricky DXD.
Now, this usually is a legacy animation from Blender. Okay, let's see what happens in the scene. There it is. Alright, just needs to loop. And
Yeah, you don't know what real shock is. You don't know what super real shock is. So, yeah. I've been screwed for literally all day.
wrap mode loop. Here we go. Apply.
What'd you think? I said I played once for literally all
Alright, there he
day.
is. So looks awkward because he's just sitting there. Although, you know, looks a little worse there than it did in Blender. But it's functional at the moment, so that's good. So that's what I was going for tonight, getting the animations started on the duck. Next time we'll probably do, maybe tune that up a little bit, and a death animation. And then after that we will look at doing the Duck of Doom by copying and pasting the skeleton and reusing it. Although Duck of Doom will have an attack, the regular duck can't attack. We'll go from there. So that's it for tonight. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.